Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're laying out the absolute ultimate blueprint for building software utilities and AI tools right from scratch. Whether you're already a seasoned developer or you're just kind of curious about how the digital world gets constructed behind the scenes, you are exactly in the right place.
Let me ask you something real quick. How much time do you figure you waste every single week on just manual, repetitive tasks? You know the ones. Copying and pasting data, reformatting documents, clicking those exact same buttons over and over again. Well, what if I told you that you could literally reclaim all those lost hours? Think of tool development as your very own superpower for efficiency and automation. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to use it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. What tool development actually is, 2. The step-by-step process, 3. The essential tech stack, 4. The world of AI tools, and finally, number 5. Challenges and best practices.
All right, before we start building anything, we need a solid foundation. So, Section 1, what is tool development? Let's look at the definition and the types.
So what are we really talking about here? At its core, tool development is all about creating software, apps, or little utilities that are specifically designed to automate, simplify, or just efficiently execute a particular task. And this is a massive spectrum, right? I mean, we're talking about everything from a tiny little 10-line script sitting on your laptop that just renames files, all the way up to these massive, incredibly complex enterprise systems managing global logistics. Now, in today's world, we generally see tool development falling into 4 main buckets. First up, you've got software tools. These are your everyday apps, scripts, or things like a custom calculator. Second, we have API and integration tools. These basically act as the glue connecting 2 different systems together. Third are the AI automation tools, which work directly with AI models. And finally, developer tools, which are quite literally built by coders to make coding, testing, and deployment easier for other coders.
But you know what's really interesting? It's looking at how we categorize these tools by their architecture, like how they're actually built. We've got standalone tools that operate totally on their own, like an offline invoice generator. Then there are integrated tools, or plugins, like those browser extensions you probably use every day. We also have API-based tools that constantly fetch or send live data. Think of your weather app. And then the really cutting-edge stuff, AI or agent tools, which actually give chatbots the ability to search databases or even manage your calendar.
Moving right along, let's hit Section 2, the step-by-step process. How do we actually build these tools? Because you wouldn't just start stacking bricks without a plan, right?
You need an architectural drawing first. And in software, that drawing is this universal 6-step life cycle. It goes from requirement analysis straight into planning and design, then development, testing, deployment, and finally maintenance and updates. Let's break these down so you can see the whole picture.
Okay, let's zoom in on steps 1 and 2. This is pure preparation, and honestly, it's your foundation. Before you even think about writing a single line of code, you have to define the problem. Who are the users? What does success look like? Once you nail that down, you start planning. You decide the absolute strict scope of the tool, what it's going to do, and maybe more importantly, what it is definitely not going to do. You map out the inputs and outputs, design the UI, and pick your tech stack. The real problem solving? It happens right here in the prep work.
Then we move into steps 3 and 4, building and checking. This is where the actual construction happens. You want to write your core logic using a modular approach, so breaking the code down into small, bite-sized components. You absolutely need strong error handling and clear documentation as you go. Then comes the testing phase, and you don't just test this once. You do unit testing for the individual pieces, integration testing to make sure the whole thing plays nice together, and user testing with real human beings to make sure it, actually solves their problem.
And finally, steps 5 and 6, launch and beyond. You deploy your shiny new tool into a live environment. But here's the catch. A lot of people think deployment is the finish line. Actually, scratch that. It's just the beginning. You have to set up monitoring to catch random errors, and you need a system to collect user feedback, which feeds right into step 6, maintenance and updates. That's a continuous, never-ending loop of fixing bugs, rolling out new features, and boosting performance.
So we've got our process down. Now for Section 3, the essential tech stack. Let's look at the actual tools of the trade.
Now, the right materials are going to depend entirely on what you're trying to build. Think of this like your developer hardware store. Building a web-based front end, you're grabbing HTML, CSS, and React. Need back-end logic? Python or Node.js are your best friends. Storing data? Look at MongoDB or PostgreSQL. And it covers the whole shebang, from API development with Fast API to plugging in AI with LangChain, all the way to getting it live with Docker or AWS.
All right, this next part is absolutely fascinating. Let's step into Section 4, the world of AI tools and smart automation.
Up until pretty recently, AI chatbots were kind of locked in a box, right? They could only chat with you based on whatever training data they already had. But thanks to this specialized concept called function calling or tool calling, everything changed. We are basically giving AI models hands to reach out and perform external actions. It's wild. We're turning simple chat interfaces into active agents that can go fetch the live weather, run some crazy complex math, or securely search a massive database in real time.
So how does an AI actually pull that off? It relies on this really clever 5-step loop. First is tool definition. You literally just explain to the AI what the tool does using a JSON schema. Second, you write the actual code for the function. Third, you integrate it by telling the model, hey, this tool exists. Step 4 is where the magic happens. Based on what the user asks, the AI autonomously decides if and when to use that tool. And finally, response handling. The tool runs, grabs the data, and throws it back to the AI so it can give the user a totally natural conversational answer.
Now, I've got to be real with you. Building this stuff isn't always smooth sailing. Let's jump into Section 5, Challenges and Best Practices. Let's just directly contrast the biggest nightmares of tool development with the proven best practices. A huge challenge, scope creep. Trying to cram in way too many features until the whole thing just collapses. The fix? Keep it simple. Make it do one thing amazingly well. Bad documentation will leave your users totally lost, which is why clear documentation is non-negotiable. Poor error handling leads to awful crashes, but professional error handling catches those issues gracefully. And honestly, the big one? Security vulnerabilities. You absolutely must adopt a security-first mindset to protect data and API keys. Sticking to these rules is what prevents catastrophic project failures. As we wrap up this explainer today, there's a quote from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. It says, "Tool development is a continuous process that starts from requirement analysis and goes all the way to maintenance. It's never just about writing code. It's the proper planning, the clean code, and that continuous loop of user feedback that actually solves real problems and keeps a tool valuable for the long haul."
So, you've got the ultimate blueprint now. You know the types, the 6-step lifecycle, the tech stack, and even how to supercharge AI with function calling. So I'm going to leave you with this final challenge. Look at your own daily workflow. Which repetitive task are you going to automate first? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Now get out there, start planning, and start building.